Hey guys! Today I thought it would be a little bit of fun to dive into Nu Beauty from YSL. They've launched a new product line, which is NU. So here is the primer. They don't have a ton of different products, so I'm interested to see if they expand this line or if their whole idea is this is the like clean girl makeup aesthetic from Yves Saint Laurent, because they really have some great full coverage, full glam. They've got quite the variety, and so for them to come down and consider skincare as makeup for this new, I feel so weird saying new because it's called NU. And it's this, relatively new from them. But yeah, let's dive in. There's only a few things, so we'll go for kind of the clean girl aesthetic. We'll finish it up with a few products that are not from this line, just because I feel like it isn't quite enough to really do the full look, because if you do put on a color, it does kind of flatten you, even if it is a very lightweight coverage. But without too much further ado, we'll dive right into the first thing. So they do have a lovely mist. This is Dewy Mist, and I did play around with this a little bit. It has an absolutely wonderful dispersal of mist, very fine. It isn't quite the Caudalie Beauty Elixir level, but few things are. But yeah, this is really nice. So this is just like your starting point. Shake well before use. To spray at a minimum of 15 centimeters close to the eyes. Oh, to close the eyes and the mouth during application. Let's get this started just to hydrate. I know a lot of times if you've put on or you're going to be putting on a primer, or hyaluronic acid is in everything. So we do like to mist the face. We'll give it a good shake. Close the eyes. I don't know how well it shows on camera, but the mist is incredibly fine. Like, you don't feel like you have droplets on you. It's really just a lovely mist. Doesn't smell much of like a perfumey kind of fragrance, but I feel like there's a little bit in here. So it has like glycerin, water, the geranium extract. They do seem to highlight that in most of these products. They have like a private farm in Morocco where they grow all this geranium, and they're using that flower essence to infuse it into all these different products. I know Chanel has their red camellia flower. Looks like YSL will not be outdone and has their very own geranium flower specific to a private garden in Morocco. Yep, I see sodium hyaluronate, so there is some hyaluronic acid in here, so great. Nice little bit of plumping for the skin. Next, we'll go in with their primer. So I will say with this Glow In Balm, mine did come defective, like it's a little broken. I don't know what happened. I feel like when the top was being tightened during manufacturing, it got tightened a little too hard. I don't know if you can see. It's so sad. There's a little crack, so I'm gonna try to hold it down to squeeze out some of the product. Again, I mean, things like this happen in manufacturing. What are you gonna do? So if I'd noticed it sooner, I could have exchanged it, but here we are, so. Right. I just applied it to the back of my hand. Just, looks like a nice hydrating primer. YSL has another primer that I really am pretty fond of. So I had put some of this on the back of my hand earlier when I was just making sure the shade matched me. And it was really nice. It has a good finish. It's not too tacky, and it does feel like it mostly absorbs into the skin. Leaves a little bit for a dewy finish. So we'll focus on the drier areas of my skin. And this doesn't have any dimethicone or anything like that to be pore filling. It's really more focused as a hydrating primer. So I think it adds a nice bit of radiance, a little bit of dewiness. We'll give it a minute to sink into the skin, and then we'll go in with the foundation. Feels like a hard word because it is light, but it is the Bare Look Tint. So we'll give this a moment and we'll move on to the next step. All right, so we've given this a minute to sink into the skin. Time to go into the Bare Look Tint. I did pick up the shade number 1. It's fairly light coverage, so I think it's a little more flexible. So if you're not entirely certain of your shade, I don't know. I'm always the one to err on the side of slightly lighter because you can always warm things up with bronzer. So let's try a little of this on the hand. Just take a quick look. So we have a tiny pearl on the hand. And then you can see it just disappears. So this feels like a pretty good shade match for me. So again, fairly light coverage. Like the skin looks better. It doesn't look completely, blanked out. It just looks, like it's been improved somehow. So I feel like this is perfect for the clean girl aesthetic, which on an everyday basis is my preference. We'll take a little bit of this. Ooh, I'm excited. I also want to try out, I have a new Sephora foundation brush. I picked up the number 47. This was a bit of a struggle. It's been sold out for so long, but it's nice, kind of flat. You can see. So this is supposed to be good for applying like a lighter coverage or more liquidy foundation, or in this case, skin tint. So I'll do the same classic thing I like to do where I will wet the brush similar to wetting a beauty blender or a beauty sponge to prevent it from absorbing too much product. So we'll spray that a little bit. It also helps with like shearing out the product as well. So we'll apply a little at the back of my hand and then we'll take it off with the brush. Just because there's already some on there, so we'll just go with it. All right, I think that was a pretty decent match. I don't feel like it's very heavy coverage. I think it just helps even everything out. You look a little improved, but not, too covered up, so you don't feel like you have to apply too many more things after you've done this. Sometimes with a fuller coverage foundation, you put it on and you're like, oh geez, where's my blush? Where's my bronzer? Like, you have to add more dimension, but with this, I think you look pretty good. I don't feel like I need to add like a whole bunch extra just to look normal. I feel like just a little more even, a little more perfected. And even close up, I don't feel like it's super obvious I have makeup on, which is nice. It's just a little fresher of a look. And this line doesn't have any concealer, so I did put it like right up underneath the eyes. So it helped cancel out a little bit of the darkness, but as a human, you usually have a little bit of darkness. We're just gonna go with that. There are only 2 more items to try, and those are the lip cheek tint. Now these feel a little dark in the tube, so I'm a little scared. You can see the first one, the lip and cheek balmy balmy tint, sorry. It's a little upside down for me. It's fairly purple. I generally like the more purpley shades of blush in the fall winter time period, so we'll try a little of that. I think we'll do one color on one cheek, and then we'll do the other color on the other cheek. This one's a little more of a red tint. I think I'm gonna like this one on my lips. Honestly, I think I'll like both of them on my lips. So hopefully they're hydrating as well. So before we get into the blush lip tint situation, I did forget to mention that I keep trying to call it a foundation, but it's just a skin tint. It does contain various like skincare ingredients, and one of which is citric acid. So you have some vitamin C, which is really nice. I noticed they didn't really call out vitamin C on the packaging, but it is in there. I know they're all about their floral essences and extracts. But yeah, I noticed that was in there, so that made me happy. I usually like to use a vitamin C serum in the morning, but if this has vitamin C and I put on a sunscreen, I feel like you can kind of end up layering too many products, you know what I mean? So if I have like my mineral sunscreen and then the skin tint over it, I think that would be pretty nice. So I'll have to try that out, report back. We'll see how that goes. But I am going to try applying these cheek tints with a brush, just because they look kind of potent, and if I go in with my finger, I don't want to move around the skin tint too much. So we'll start with the lighter color since I only have one brush, but I'm just going to use the Sephora Collection Angled Blush Brush. So nothing too crazy. I like this one because it's a little more fluffy. The Sephora Pro angled brush is a little more dense. So I think with this being a balm, I would like a fluffier brush to apply. So we'll add a little to the back of the hand just so I can take a small amount and we can kind of see how it looks. So that, like, see what I mean? It's a little intense, so I'm kind of scared. So I'll just take a little bit with the brush. And we'll go on the right side. All right, so that worked much better than I expected. It was so dark on my hand, I was a little scared, but it sheared out so beautifully. I can't wait to see this on my lips. But first, we're trying the more purpley shade. So we have this tint, the more purple one. We'll try a little of that on the back of the hand. Same deal, only we'll try it on this cheek. Hopefully I don't look too different, or I'll have to fix everything before I leave the house, but that's okay. It's in the interest of science. All right, so here's the purple. So, you know, fairly pigmented, nice and plum. So this will be beautiful for fall. And I do like this sort of shade on my lips. So definitely, nothing else, we'll use it for that. All right, let's go in. Oh, that's so pretty. I lied when I said plum was only for fall, winter. My goodness. This is fairly light though. I think what I'm thinking of is usually a darker, like my Laura Mercier go-to for fall is definitely darker than this. Yeah, that would definitely be buildable if you really wanted to have like the intense, more blush forward look that's popular right now. You could definitely do that with this. Yeah, I don't feel like that accentuates lines at all. As someone who's just starting to get like the fine lines around the eyes, I love these cream products. Oh man, yeah, that's pretty. I don't know which one I like better. Please comment down below, help break the tie. I'm not sure if I have a favorite. They're both really pretty. I don't know, I feel like this one's a little more sun-kissed, and this one's just like natural sort of rosy, at least on me. Well, that's a lovely surprise. I was kind of concerned about at least the red one being just too red and more of a sunburned kind of a look, which can be great, you know, like July, August, you've got like the bronzer, you have the more like reddish blush going on, but it's, I don't know, April right now, so not quite ready for that at this point. All right, let's try some of this on the lips. I think we'll go in with what is likely to be the lighter shade, the red one. We'll just tap a little of that on. That does sheer out a lot. We'll try a little more just to see what happens. Okay, so it does build fairly well. Yeah, that's pretty. I think that's nice. I don't know how specifically hydrating. Like, I wouldn't want to put on more than I just did. All right, let me wipe this off real quick and we'll try the purple. All right, let's go with the purple. I feel like this kind of gives more of the popsicle effect, you know, like it does kind of settle into the creases in your lips, at least if they're dry like mine. But that is kind of a look, right? Like it's definitely got the kind of Korean beauty popsicle vibes going, which is fun for summer. But the purple is really pretty. I think maybe if I'm a little more hydrated, it'll look a little nicer, but definitely more pigmented. So if you're looking for something to give you just a little more, the purple one is where it's at. All right, so that's all I have from the new line from YSL Beauty. I really think the skin tint, surprise, I wasn't entirely certain what would happen. It looked almost a little yellow in the tube, but when I put it on the skin, it looks so beautiful. You can hardly tell like there's any makeup on. But again, it doesn't cover everything. It just evens things out, makes you look a little bit better. And then blushes. I think I like them better as a blush, which is no surprise. Most products like this that are eyes, cheeks, lips, like, you know, multi-purpose, they generally look better as a blush. So I think those are a lot of fun. I don't know, I love them both so much for different reasons. I think it depends on what I'm wearing. Like with this Orange, I think I'm leaning a little more towards the red side, which I just noticed is called Nu Flush. And then the purple one is called Nu Chills. That'll be linked in the description below if you liked one over the other. Yeah, I think it turned out really well. I think we have a nice fresh look going. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see everybody in the next one.